You're watching the Smoking Hot Coffee Show. I'm from Los Angeles. We talk to startup founders about their startups. I'm joined with...
Hey guys, I'm Jeff Pelton and I'm down here in San Diego.
And so today, another amazing interview with Peep. He's the founder and CEO of ConversionXL.com. He covers conversions in all forms. So Jeff, tell us more about what that's all about.
Yeah, I think he said he started doing this like 4, maybe 5 years ago, conversion optimization, sort of an evolution on the hustle for SEO. That's kind of a battle that for at least the big targets has been a battle that's fought and over. So he's looking at how to optimize the traffic that you're already getting to your website and making the most of it.
Yeah, yeah. So back in the day, a lot of businesses, hey, it was the Wild West of the internet. Let's just throw more eyeballs at it. Let's throw more money at it. But now, as he says, and as I've experienced myself, PPC, pay per click, is very expensive now for many of the big niches. Getting more eyeballs to your website is not cheap. SEO for keywords, for ranking, for different long tail, short tail is impossible. A lot of the big companies have got those things locked down. Google isn't going to let a new site rank for a big keyword. It favors large brands. So at this point, you got to try to maximize whatever eyeballs you can get to your site, and that's where conversions come in.
Totally. I mean, so everything, all the best practices, all the SEO stuff, you got to do that, whatever. But like you said, you can't break into the incumbent battlefield, and so I think what Peep tells us is that you got to be strategic. And you got to run experiments, and you got to have a thesis, and you got to see how that did using basically a scientific method to determine what you can do to improve the conversions on your site.
Right, and so one of the big takeaways that I got from this, and I love Peep, I think is awesome, is that everybody should be running experiments on their website, their app, every day.
Yeah, he gives us a few really good examples of things that you can do too, that everyone should be running.
Yeah, literally the guy who runs the most experiments is the guy that's going to make the most money, especially in competitive niches and competitive markets where the keywords are all gone, where the cost per clicks are so high, it's hard to penetrate. You have to keep running experiments. Trying different calls to actions, trying different placements for different buttons, trying different ways of laying out your site. Most of the time, back in the day, you needed expensive designers, maybe even expensive developers. He's saying that there are tools coming on the market now. He mentions Google's conversion optimizer quite a bit that are available to the layperson to start running these experiments. And one of the other big things that I got from him was that there's nobody really doing this. He's one of the very few agencies that focused strictly on conversions. And with your same traffic, you can make, instead of the $1 per visitor, you can now make possibly 2 or 3 or 5 times what that value over the lifetime, the life cycle for that visitor is. And that's huge.
Yeah, I don't know if your ears perked up when he said that it's design is kind of one of the first things that makes a difference. And I think that like you said, a lot of people aren't aware of how valuable and important this process that he's been refining over the last few years is, and he's going to be releasing some educational series and stuff to help developers and designers and the like do a better job at optimization from day one, which we love to hear, because the guys on the ground, it would be awesome for them to be better educated from the outset on something like this.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, as a designer, I'm very sort of attuned to the visual aspects, to the aesthetics, and there are some mathematics behind like the golden mean and all that kind of thing in color theory. But in general, a lot of times you're kind of going with your gut and your instinct and all that kind of thing. And sometimes, like he says, let's test it. We get in these battles, maybe. Hey, well, you know what, Amul? Why don't we try a different color for this? Let's test it out. And so sometimes that off-color green that I wasn't really a big fan of really does drive more dollars at the end of the day.
Like you said, unfortunately, the highest paid person's opinion is sometimes not the most scientific. And so it is important to run the tests. And the other thing I took from it is to know your audience. So sometimes we make these poor assumptions, or we blindly just want to get on the top of Hacker News, but that may not be the right audience for you. So it really takes a critical mind to understand the problem you're trying to solve with the site.
And one of the other big lessons and takeaways from this interview was, Pep, when he launched his blog, the first month he got 50,000 visitors.
Huge
The
success.
first month, which is unheard of.
Mhm.
And he talks about how he was able to get that. He talks about his epic post, lengthy post
Yeah.
strategy. He talked a lot
Content
about that,
marketing,
and
for sure,
yeah,
is something that we made sure to get out of him.
and he talks about now he has clients that approach him, and he's not worried about asking them that he's going to charge this much. He's setting the terms, and for the most part, clients are just gushing and happy to work with this guy because he's already established his authority via content marketing. So from an organic content marketing point, this interview is fucking treasure. This is
Yeah.
gold here, guys.
Incredible. I mean, I just have to say thanks to him to Pep for joining us again, because we actually tried to shoot this once before and it got blown up in our amateur days of podcasting, and so it's made us stronger and tougher and more resilient and smarter, because I've now done some research and we're evolving our production here. But we do thank him profusely for taking the time to not only do it the first time but the second time, and teach us so much. And hopefully you guys all listen to this and also take away as much as we did.
Yeah, and trust me, guys, this is totally worth sitting around and watching. If you have a website, if you're thinking about launching a website, if you have an app, if you already have an app or a site already on and you've got some traffic, but you want to double, triple, quadruple the income you're making, you need to watch this. And with that, please subscribe to us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube. Tell your parents, tell your mother, sister, all your friends out there. You tell your dog, you tell your cat, and your hamster.
Yeah, we don't want this to just be us chatting with each other or even just interviews. We want the community to engage with us, to leave comments, add questions that you might have, stuff that you wanted us to ask that we didn't. We're going to follow up with these guys down the road. So we really want you guys to engage with us and let us know how we're doing.
Great. And so with that, let's cut to the interview. All right. Thanks for being on the show, Pep. I really appreciate it. How you doing today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
All right, so really briefly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and Conversion Excel and what you're doing these days?
Mm-hmm. I write a popular conversion blog called Conversion Excel. I run a conversion optimization agency, consultancy, where we help companies make more money, turn more of their traffic into dollars.
Okay.
We're a team of 10 people. Previously, I've done my own software as a service startup. I've worked in the real estate sector. I've been a fundraiser for nonprofits.
Okay.
A bunch of things.
Okay, so all of that experience, all of your knowledge, now you're in the world of conversions, because I'm sure, as you know, with the same amount of traffic, you can double, triple the amount of income.
That's right. Yeah, I got into this business when I was running an SEO company in Panama, and my clients were happy about the increase in traffic, but if they didn't make more money, they still weren't happy. So that led me to conversion optimization around 5 years ago.
Okay.
And I mean, everybody likes to make more money. So
Right.
So traffic coming in the front door doesn't always mean more people spending money in your shop.
No,
on your
not
website.
really. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not really. I mean, first of all, the source of the traffic matters a huge deal. Who are these people? If they're getting a bunch of stumble upon traffic, you're not going to sell anything.
Okay.
So
Conversion
optimization is where it's at. It's still not as mainstream as SEO. Everybody does SEO. Everybody knows SEO.
Right.
So, but 2, 3, 4 years from now, it's going to be mainstream. Everybody's going to be doing it, talking about it, like lean movement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about conversion optimization.
So if I'm a layman and search engines are the last, this is the new thing. Search engines were the traffic source. What's the popular traffic source for you?
A popular traffic source for me.
Or what's good for, like you said, you need good leads, more the quality of them. Are they coming from the search engines, or are you tailoring it that way, or are they coming more from content sites, or what are the
So are you talking about my blog specifically?
Sure. Yeah, well, you can use that for example.
For every website, for every website, it's going to be different. You know, if I'm selling tractors and you're sending me 20,000 visits from Hacker News, I'm not going to sell a single tractor. You know, so you need relevant traffic.
I want to get on the top of Hacker News.
So you know, search engine traffic, of course, tends to be pretty relevant for most. You know, depending on the keyword. So you know, SEO is still relevant, but in the end, it is about marketing efficiency, profit divided by marketing spend.
Okay.
So whatever activities you do, their SEO, conversion optimization, design, you know, all of it.
So you know, you mentioned a minute ago that you know, everybody knows about SEO. Everybody's playing the SEO game now. In your view, and I completely agree with you, because this is our second interview. The last one, unfortunately, got lost in the interwebs. But the last interview, the thing that I got from talking to you for almost 30, 40 minutes is that this conversions, this whole thing is so untapped and is so rich. It's so much money that can be made, not 4 years from now, but for now, right now. And that so many companies are ignoring this, and they're going to the low-hanging fruit. Oh, we'll just throw more PPC at it. Oh, we'll just throw more links at it. Oh, we'll just throw more eyeballs at it. And so,
where's the real opportunity for the big guys?
Well, first of all, how do you design your site? How do you create your site to begin with? Most companies, sadly, do it based on HIPPO, you know, highest paid person's opinion.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or they blindly copy their competitor. Like, I think these guys are doing pretty well, so let's do, you know, let's just rip them off.
Right.
Not knowing that those guys copy somebody else. You know, it's the blind leading the blind all over. Plus, you know, best practices and heuristics are important, but they're a starting point. They're a starting point for testing and optimization, because nobody in the world can tell you what's going to sell. You know, what your copy needs to be, what your layout needs to be like, features, whatnot.
Right.
So you need to have good hypotheses, and you need to be running a lot of experiments. Not the spaghetti method. You know, you don't want to be throwing random ideas. You know, let's test green button versus blue button, you know, because that's going to be a waste of time. So you need a structured approach. You need to know what you've been, you know, what you're doing, and that you need to be data driven.
So this whole thing about being creative, making creative experiments, thinking of new ways of adjusting the layout and adjusting your calls to action and all of that, like, how did you go about learning all these things? I mean, I'm sure you did a lot of internet research, your own personal experience. What have you found? What would you recommend to other small entrepreneurs, startup founders, other people that are out there? How do they get their feet wet in doing this kind of stuff?
Well, there's no substitution for actually doing it. So you can't learn to swim without being in the water. However, you know, you don't want to start learning without having some base knowledge. You need to have you need to understand the foundations, the key, let's say, the heuristics, and the general mindset to this. So I would recommend reading a few books. Great ones I can recommend are You Should Test That by Chris Goward. Awesome book.
That's a great title.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's all. This is what it all boils down to: is experiments and testing.
Exactly. But the critical part is here knowing how to prioritize the tests, what to test, in which order, how do you form the hypothesis for the tests. You know, because as I said, most people tend to think that I'll just split test a couple of call to action wordings and a button color. You know, that's not conversion optimization.
Wow. See,
I mean, a button color.
Honestly, before talking to you, man, I thought that's what it was. I honestly thought it was just different size buttons, different headlines.
Multivariate, try different things, throw a bunch of traffic at it, see which does the best.
So, yeah, I mean, A/B testing is that. It's basically you test things out, but behind those tests, you need to have a solid hypothesis as to what will work and why. Because ultimately, it's about learning. if you test green button versus blue and you discover that green is 6% better,
okay,
what do you do with that learning? You learn nothing about your user
okay,
and their needs and how they want to buy your stuff and what matters to them.
yeah.
So a better hypothesis here, let's say that I'm split testing a checkout page.
Okay.
So instead of testing the button color, I'm testing, well, what if my hypothesis is that my customer is very sensitive about privacy and security issues here.
Okay.
So how about we beef up on security issues here on the page, make it look more trustworthy? Maybe a testimonial from a person like themselves would be useful. Let's say that we have 256-bit encryption here, and that kind of stuff. So
some security logos, some credit card logos, and
exactly.
So had a success,
and of course there's a degree to how security focused the page can be, because if you go overboard, that creates anxiety, and in turn reduces sales again. So you need to figure out the exact right level. And you need to have an hypothesis. So if your test fails, you have an idea of why that was, and you learn from it. Run a new test.
Pep, I want to go back to your belief that you think this whole thing, this whole conversions, is going to become mainstream. I am convinced that you were right on. You're right on. Like, I honestly believe the next battleground, obviously, getting traffic and having a great site, and everybody has that these days. People are still fighting over traffic, but the next level shit is this whole conversions, optimizing.
Exactly. There are three things at play here. The competition for organic traffic on Google is nuts.
Yeah, it's fierce.
It is not possible for a new company to compete for top keywords. Impossible. That war was won 10 years ago by big guys.
Right.
So you can't get that much SEO traffic anymore these days.
Right.
Pay-per-click. The cost per click is through the roof.
Yes, it is. It's crazy.
Startups cannot afford paying for traffic that much.
Right.
So as you said, design. Design is becoming mainstream. People value great design. Now everybody has good design. Well, not everybody, but more and more companies have good design.
Right.
So
the bar's going higher. You say on that, right? I mean,
how do we operate with these conditions and still grow our sales and grow our company?
Right.
So we need to get more results out of the traffic that we have.
Right.
And of course, design, is huge for conversions.
Right.
And here, designers need to learn the discipline of conversion optimization.
I have to tell you, I'm a designer. I do a lot of design work, not as much as I used to. And I would get into battles with clients, and clients will say, "Make the logo bigger." And I'm like, okay, well, we made the logo bigger. Now it's as big as the headline. Now that's as big as this. Now there's nowhere for the eye to rest, and and now it's all getting lost because everything is big. And so I'd have almost like fights with some other guy because he'd want this to be a different color. You know how it is, exactly. So
I've come to a mall and been like, man, I had this client, and the first thing he said was make the logo bigger. And he's like, that's just everyone,
Yeah, everybody asks these silly egocentric things, right?
Right.
Or I love what you say. The people, all following the leader, are just thinking like, oh, we'll just do it like everyone else does it, and then after a while, everyone's just like following each other in this big circle going nowhere.
What you need to bring to the table is a shift in mindset. So start off the discussion not about whose design taste is the best, because that's irrelevant. What is the website for? What is the goal of this website? Usually, it's to make money. It's to sell something.
Right.
So the website is a means to an end.
Yeah.
Now, will a bigger logo result in more sales? Or will this button here, get us more free trial users?
Right.
And if we have a difference of opinion, easy, we'll just test it.
Okay. So I'm sorry to interrupt, Pep, but I have to tell you, you and I, Jeff as well, we all are on board here. We know that conversions is the next step. Improving conversions is where it's at. Why isn't it mainstream? Why is it so hard? Why aren't there more tools? Why aren't more people that aren't technically, or designers
so hard to
or
convince
programmers.
people.
Yeah, well, what do you suppose is going on?
Well, two things. Up to recently, it used to be technically complicated to do this. Now, we have lots of easy-to-use tools, and more are coming in.
Okay.
Optimize the Visual Website Optimizer are so
Less
easy
scary.
to use. If you know CSS and some JavaScript, you can even use them more, but you don't need to know any coding in order to use it. You don't need IT anymore.
Okay.
So that's one. Two, I think it is somewhat complicated, and somebody who is complicated in the sense that you need to know what you're doing over here. But it's easy to learn. But going in, it can be daunting, like what do I test? I don't know. And then you run a blue versus green test and get no results. Like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, right. So that you brought up a good point. So give me some low-hanging fruit, things that if you met some new people, new clients, new startup founders, what are some of the common things we should all be testing, running experiments on?
Right. So, well, first thing, value proposition.
Okay.
Value proposition hugely important. What my software or whatever I'm selling does, who's it for, how is it better than or different from the rest of the, from the competition.
Yeah.
So basically communicating the value that my website offers.
Okay.
Now, how you put it and which pain point you address can make a huge difference.
Okay.
It can change the course of your whole company.
Okay.
So value proposition, it's hugely important. The worst thing you can say is, welcome to our website.
Right.
I mean, it still happens. I'm still puzzled about it. Then
People don't know what to say.
Every
right?
website, every page on your website,
Right.
you need to have define most wanted action. You need to know, I want the user to do this on this page.
Okay.
So a simple test to do is that, what if we would remove everything that does not directly contribute to people taking that action from the page? Basically removing distractions.
Okay.
Like if you're on Amazon and you're about to check out, you see how on that last checkout screen, Amazon has removed all navigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to click.
I didn't know that. Okay,
except for place order.
Okay.
So eliminating distractions is a thing.
Okay. It's funny you mentioned that because we had a guy on who's from New York, and he's got the #1. Or I don't know if it's still #1, but at the time he had the #1 music app in the iPhone and in the App Store. It was basically like a karaoke type app, and
Just
he
sing
said.
it.
And he said, yeah, just sing it. And he said that when they were doing ideation and they were getting in the hands of just average people, he said that the more buttons they had, the more people would click on random stuff that had nothing to do with what needed to happen in the flow, And so
watching over the shoulder, you'd think they'd like click the help button, they'd click on a button, they just start hitting anything at all, just going all over the place.
Yeah, and so
right.
And
that's
so,
the paradox of choice. That when given too much choice, it's easier to choose nothing. You'll also start seeing the thing that, this is too complicated. I know. I'll rather go, read news.
Right.
Do something easier.
So one of the easy low-hanging fruits is. You said is to simplify, cut to the essence, find out what your value proposition is, figure out why you're different, express that difference right up front.
Right.
Am I wrong?
Okay. Exactly.
And what about from a design standpoint? I was a designer. Have you noticed that having that big banner and big slider in the front that 90% of these startup founders sites do, is that a good thing? Do you think
so? Visuals are hugely important. When somebody lands on our site, first thing we want to do is to get their attention, right? Okay. So a huge visual is a wonderful thing for that reason, and this has been measured so many times by neuroscientists and so on. So a large visual is good, and it usually can be helpful. Okay. Of course, you want to do something with that attention. You want to convert it into action. So get their attention. Without scrolling down or anything, they need to see the value proposition and some sort of a call to action. Now that call to action, mistake startups often do is they immediately go for the sale. Sign up now, a free trial, buy. I don't even know what your site is about.
Jeff, you've heard me say this many times. We'll review startups.
Got this on our first dozen episodes. We get their email sign up above what they do, and it's just like, I'm not there yet. You haven't told me what you do. There's no reason for me to give you any
Exactly. It's okay to have secondary call to actions, which is like for returning users. Let's say that I've done my research, I'm ready to sign up. But you can see from Google Analytics. What's the percentage of new visitors? Usually it's going to be like somewhere between 70 and 90%, right? Right. And so those users, a better call to action is, learn more, watch this video, basically drive them deeper down the sales funnel.
Yeah. Okay, well, all right. So we've talked a little about maybe the tooling that is coming on board now. What are some really popular tools that people may not know about that you're using right now in your marketing firm?
Let's see. Well, Google Analytics everybody uses, but the important thing there is to really configure your goals. So you're actually tracking conversions and also your sales funnel. So you see where in the sales funnel process, where in the sign-up process people are dropping off, so to identify which pages have a problem.
In your opinion, before you go on, have you noticed a lot of clients actually using analytics that deep, or because I mean, I'll be honest, just for me, I haven't even gotten that deep, and I know I need to.
Yeah, most people know because it is it requires a certain specialty. I mean, because most people just want to look at vanity metrics, like just overall traffic. I mean,
that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, traffic. It is nice if you get a lot of traffic, but that's not where you get the insights from. Because the main value of analytics is trying to understand what's going on.
Okay, and, so could we
doesn't tell you why. Why you need to come up yourself.
So could we argue that Google Analytics, the UX, the user experience, needs to be improved to try to possibly educate people as they're diving deeper into the funnel and how they visualize their, I mean, do you think maybe there's some improvements?
Well, I mean, yes, it is. I think Google has gotten much better now that in the recent years with the addition of custom reports and advanced segments and all that stuff. But for most people, you tell them custom report, they're gonna go crazy.
You're right.
So a lot of these very, very, very useful custom reports should be made standard. I give you a couple of examples.
So
when I'm working on a site and I'm trying to understand, what could be improved here. Couple of things that I look at. I look at all things like I want to see conversions per device. iPad, my Samsung S4, whatever. And I see that for some reason iPhone conversions are 0. What does that tell me? It tells me that the website is broken for iPhone users. They can't buy. So depending on the size of your iPhone users, if they could buy, that could mean a lot of extra money. Just look at conversions per browser and browser versions. People say, fuck Internet Explorer. Sometimes you see Internet Explorer 8, 0 conversions. But you look at the amount of traffic that comes on Internet Explorer 8, and you say, well, if it would convert the average, whatever 2% was the average on your site. That could be additional $40,000 a year for you guys. It's a simple thing. So
those are great. Is it developed?
Also, you have to assign when you do conversion tracking. Assign a monetary value to your goals. Even if you have a fixed price for your product, it's easy. If you have let's say if your sales funnel is more complicated and actually people don't pay you money online, you sell over the phone, whatnot. Put even $1 for every goal achieved. Why?
Okay.
Because when you look at pages, Google Analytics shows you page value. And page value is a metric that basically it shows you the money pages. The pages people visited close to completing the action.
Okay. Wow.
So
interesting.
What you will see there, you and then you can see high traffic, low money pages. Like something on those pages is wrong because they get a lot of traffic, but they don't contribute to people taking action. They might be actually driving people away.
Oh, okay.
Something is turning them
something's
off.
broken there. Yeah, gotcha.
Exactly. And at the same time, you identify high-performing pages, like all money pages, and see what's on these pages that's different. Why are these pages working well? Sometimes you see that, hey, that's the page where we have a video of a customer talking how great our service is.
Right.
So, we need to have that kind of videos more often.
Right. So now I'm glad you brought up video because I was going to get into this a little bit later. Jeff and I have been doing this now for a couple of months now. It's almost 3 months now, I think. And we've got we've got some videos up, and we've been watching our engagements. And we'll notice, hey, people start watching, and then all of a sudden, around 5-6 minutes, it starts to drop off. And then again, another 10 or 11, it starts to drop off again, and then we got our steady audience that'll watch, past that point. And I was sitting there yesterday talking to Jeff, and I was like, Jeff, maybe we should have a girl come in with some big boobs right around 5 minutes to try to get people to...
Right at the drop-off point. Yeah.
That's right. Have one sit behind you.
Yeah, one sit behind us. So, I mean, from a, all joking aside, so... I'm not even sure actually what our gender is. I'm assuming it's mostly guys that watch our show. But in your opinion, when it comes to video, have you thought about conversions and analytics for video? What's your thoughts on all that?
For sure. I mean, in your case, it's very different because you have content videos. It's not a promo video, right?
Yeah.
So for promo videos, we know that if you go over 30 minutes or even 1 minute,
yeah, I thought it'd be
that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it should be within that time frame.
Right.
And there's no way to avoid dropping off unless Jerry Seinfeld said that the whole concept of attention span, it's a misnomer. It doesn't exist.
Okay.
People have infinite attention span if you're entertaining them. If you guys watch Dexter, the Game of Thrones, you're able to sit in front of TV for hours without
Yeah.
So, because you're being entertained.
Right.
So, in terms of your content, for each video, it's going to be different, right? So you look at your engagement, go back to that minute 5 or whatever the drop off was.
Right.
What was happening there?
Yeah.
Like something boring was happening. So
something hit their brain and made them.
Exactly. And maybe you'll start seeing trends. When we talk about X, people are not interesting. When we talk about somebody's personal stories, maybe that's interesting.
Right.
I mean,
good point.
Figure out what your audience is.
Well, I've been sort of brainstorming with a friend of mine, and I've noticed that even when I've watched like some Mixergy interviews or some of the other long format sort of informative videos in the startup space, after a while, even I'll sort of switch it off or I'll be doing something else, and because they tend to be pretty long. And just like ours, and so I thought, maybe just breaking the show up into chunks and then cutting to a different chunk or explaining, something else completely different than what we're going to might help break up the show and might keep the audience longer. So we haven't tested that. Jeff and I have been talking about it, but I just wanted to get your feedback on this whole new world of conversions for video or analytics for video.
Well, mostly the video conversions that I work with, those are kind of like this 1 minute overview videos and like promo videos.
Right.
So in terms of content, I haven't run that many experiments.
Right.
What I do know is that, in order to get people engaged, you need to start off with the most interesting stuff.
Right.
Right. So people think that, wow, holy shit, this stuff is amazing.
I gotta watch.
Listening.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it might be a good idea to before recording, discuss with your guest like, what's the juiciest bit you can give us, and start with a bang.
Yeah. No, we're definitely doing that now. We're definitely leading in, and we're talking about the big lessons that are learned. Yep, we're definitely doing that.
Mm. So, did you guys read the book by the 37 Signals guys,
Yeah, yeah.
Rework?
Rework is
So,
like, oh man, it changed my
exactly.
life
And what
basically.
was amazing about it, each chapter was one page, right?
Yeah,
Just
it was
one
a
page.
You
blog post.
constantly felt like you're making progress.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
Even when you read 4 pages,
Oh,
it's like,
sure.
I
Yeah.
finished four
Well,
chapters,
so let
man.
me tell you, I'm not a big book guy. Like, I like, I read a lot online. I educate myself through a lot of other means, read news online, all that stuff. Not a
Hmm.
huge book fan, but that one, certainly, like you're saying, the format that they put it in was to the point where I felt it was courteous of my time. The way that they boiled it
Yes.
down. They even wrote about the fact that they spent so much time. They cut it in half and threw out a half of it. And you're
Mm.
like, oh, but all that content. Like, yeah, but we made it that
Yes.
much
Hmm.
better.
Mm.
There
You
really
know,
are
I
a
have
lot
a
of great
lot of
lessons from
clients that do online courses. You know, they sell access to whatever online courses for a
it.
bunch
Yep.
of money,
Okay.
and they have analytics installed. And
Okay.
the common thing is that, let's say, 1,000 people have bought their course,
Yeah.
and actually 800 people have ever logged in. 600 of them have watched more than 2 videos,
Okay.
and so on. So
Uh-huh.
actually, people, and usually the problem is that there's too much content,
Okay.
and it is not given in digestible chunks.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
people are busy,
Yeah.
so um, so
Yeah.
this rework idea of structuring content and giving you like 30 seconds at a time or something
You know.
could be a good idea.
And I have to
So
say,
I'm
Pep.
not sure of how you would apply it in
Well,
your case,
I
but
have to
I'll
say,
have to
Pep,
podcast,
this is
yeah.
definitely something I've discussed with Jeff. We're thinking maybe bringing on maybe some VAs that'll help edit the pieces down into half or third of the size. Maybe cut.
Yeah,
Just
it's really hard because I think part of the magic is the raw nature of our production, and that's nice, and it's great to can it, but rather than not shooting it at all because we're like, oh, it's got to be perfect, right?
right.
But we're hoping to find some happy medium maybe where we can, because I don't know, I think there may be an audience that appreciates the raw nature.
Oh, of course.
But like you're saying, converting on the 2.5 minute video is going to be way higher than the hour-long video. So
Yeah.
how do we accommodate all of that and be efficient with our process? I think is the challenge that we're kind of going through.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess one option could be that you offer two versions. Here's the raw version,
Right.
and here's the 2 minutes juicy bits.
Yeah. 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 That's a really good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be something we'll have to work on. But no, thanks to the wonderful world of the internet, there are plenty of video editors out there. Maybe we can find a couple of young kids who can cut this thing down. I don't know. It might be difficult, but we might be able to groom somebody to do that.
Well, so let's just put it on the table because actually you're the expert in like long form blog posting, right? Amul came to me and said, "Man, this guy, he really he's got a passion for it, and I think you're really onto something there." And our idea was maybe to take like a month's worth of the content that we've been shooting and all the great conversations we've had and try to find the common threads and the juiciest, best stuff of all of that content and digest it and boil it down into like a newsletter that we can email out and also create like one super
Right.
massive, super valuable blog post that also cross post between all the other content, which we haven't done that well, but hopefully introduce people to other flavors they hadn't seen. They may have caught one episode.
Absolutely. So as you said, I write very long blog posts, usually 2,000 words and up.
Yeah.
But what's the advantage of written posts that are long over video is that I can skip ahead, or the readers can skip ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
The stuff that is less interesting, I'll just jump over it,
Right.
and just identify the stuff that I'm actually interested in.
Right.
And that format works super well because most everybody writes short blog posts because it's easy to do, but they don't have that much depth in them. So that's my advantage, and readers have really accepted it. And I'm not alone. New Yorker magazine, Fast Company, they all do long articles.
Okay, so
and
I'm really glad you're bringing this up, Pep. So we're right now in the whole content marketing phase. So we've talked to many startups that are succeeding really well because of content marketing, because they've been found organically via the search engines. You're obviously known for writing these epic posts. The 3,000 plus posts that get shared. What in your opinion, what is the key of getting these big, long posts shared? I mean, is it the length of it? Is it the number of images that you have? Is it that you're tackling one specific keyword? Do you go to Google Keyword Tool and find the right phrase, and you're like, okay, this is medium competition. I'm going to write a 4,000 word long article, and it's going to have 14 images in there with little call outs, and like, what is your secret sauce here, Pep?
Well, the structure needs to be good. It needs to be, readable. But that's not the magic sauce. I mean, that, you want to avoid wall of text. Nobody's going to read a huge wall of text. Right. You need subheadlines, bullet points, images.
Yes.
So that's a given.
Okay.
But mostly, when I write a post, I shoot for like 2,000 words, and up, because I know within that's the amount of content it takes to actually say and teach something useful.
Okay.
So it's not going to be superficial.
Okay.
So every post is basically like the ultimate guide to something.
Ah, I see your point. So this is beyond the superficiality. You're giving me some real meat here. That's why you need that lens.
Exactly.
Ah, I never thought about it like that. You're right. 500 words, 600 words. Normally, for the longest time, 500 words was like the de facto standard for SEO, like, the minimum AdSense blog.
For all the Odesk ads, right?
Yeah, exactly. For all the Odesk people, like, I need a 500-word, thing so I can rank and I can get some AdSense money.
That's right. I used to buy articles from Bangladesh, $1 per article, 300 words each, when I used to do my SEO company.
Exactly. So we've all been there. So my question to you now is, so 2,000 words minimum. How do you go about finding the topic? Do you scour Google Keyword Tool looking for medium competition keywords?
Sometimes I used to do it in the beginning I do polish the title of my blog posts, kind of try to optimize it for search engines somewhat. And yes, I'll try to, pick my battles, like where can I rank and where I cannot, depending, on the number of backlinks to my site.
Right.
But mostly I think, why do I have what do I have to say? Like, what do I feel passionate about? That you idiots, you don't understand X, so I'm going to tell you about X.
I love it.
Or B, I want to learn about X.
Okay.
So I'm going to make research everything I can about this topic, and I'm going to present my findings in a blog post.
Gotcha.
So, because the best way to learn is to teach.
Right. So you synthesize all this knowledge, and you just bring the essence down in this 2,000 plus.
Exactly. So my most popular blog post of all time is about pricing experiments.
Okay, yeah.
None of the pricing experiments mentioned in the post were done by me. They were done by other people.
Okay.
I just compiled the research.
Okay.
The same post that you're showing right now.
Yeah.
So I get the kudos, and I learned a lot by doing this. And I read a book, and went through all the scientific material.
Right.
Very cool.
Okay, so you do have some links here. So you are giving some links, and you've got some citations here. So you are definitely crediting the sources. Looks like.
Yeah. And that's another key thing about content marketing, because most guys out there are blogging. Research says, and then they make up some claim like, which research? Where's the evidence, and so on. They just share their personal opinion.
Yes.
Whereas I have this policy that I never claim anything without backing it up by linking to a case study, a scientific research, a quote by this other guy, So always back up your claims. Very important. People love that.
So I have to say, so you wrote this post. You had mentioned earlier when we talked to you that this got to the top of Hacker News 3 times.
3 times,
Three times. I mean, just once is fucking amazing. 3 times. That's
people forgot and they reposted it. It was so useful, right?
Exactly right. Like once Tim Ferriss found it, tweeted it out. His tweet, by the way, brought me like 15,000 visitors.
Wow.
And then that again landed on Hacker News, and
And listen, and so can you tell us, like, has this one post driven your marketing, your agency? Have you gotten clients out of this? Paying clients?
Well, it's hard to know whether it's only because of this blog post, but that's definitely the blog post that got my blog going.
Okay.
You know, the audience growing.
Yeah.
Because you know, I got 50,000 visits to my blog the first month I started blogging.
Wow, that's crazy,
thanks
man.
to this and a few other articles.
That's crazy. I have to tell you though, Pep.
Cool.
You know, you make it look easy. I mean, not easy. You make it look like it's doable. But I have to say, man, you are sharp, man. You are a sharp guy. If I was over there, I'd want to date you, man. But I know you're already married. No, you're sharp. You're really sharp. Yeah, you're married. Yeah, so am I. You're married.
So
you know, you're really sharp. You're on the conversion. Sorry, Jeff. I just want to get this out. You're on the conversions. You're writing about some really, really great topics that are are around marketing. I mean, you've really got a really sharp, focus on all this stuff, and I really like that. Where did you?
No bullshit.
Yeah, no bullshit. Yeah, it's really great. So
you're not giving us any bullshit. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So where did all this come from? Like, did you just notice that there was like a dearth of conversion talk on the internet, and you're like, this is an area that nobody's focusing on. I'm going to do this. Like, when did you notice that?
Well, actually, English is not my first language, obviously. So I was hesitant about blogging in English, and I had been blogging in Estonian, my native language, for years. Okay. And my wife, who's American, she kept pushing me like, "Hey, you can do this. You're gonna be great. Don't worry." Yeah. But I still lingered because I was like, well, I mean, there's a million marketing blogs out there. Like, how am I gonna be different?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I thought, well, let me do some research and see where the gaps are. And then I just started reading and seeing studies where what kind of blog posts get tweeted the most, linked to the most, and so on and so forth. And then I noticed that while there are 7 trillion SEO blogs out there,
right.
there were very few conversion blogs, and only some of them good. So I was like, hey, that's my angle. And yes. I didn't. I started with what I call the Tim Ferriss approach. Okay. He became famous with the one thing, the 4-hour work week, right?
Work, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's the 4-hour body, 4-hour chef. Yeah. He's entrepreneurship. He's a VC. He's all these things. He's a Superman.
Yeah, he is a Superman. Yeah.
So you start with one specific focus, and if you get to a certain level of let's say popularity, or you're well enough known,
right,
then you can expand and be more than just that one thing.
Okay.
Gary Vee, the wine guy, he was all about wine.
Right.
Now his business, social media, caring about people.
Yeah, the whole thank you economy. Yeah. Wow. So what's next for you, Pep? Like, I know you're doing this. You've got your marketing, your agency. Where do you see yourself coming this year or next year?
Well, it's hard to know how it's gonna play out. It's an experiment.
I love that. I love that. It's an experiment. I love that.
That's what I put in every one of my blog posts. It's an experiment.
It's an experiment. I love that. We're just gonna have a T-shirt line. It's an experiment.
Yeah. So I'm gonna disrupt how conferences are being done. So I'm gonna me and some people I cannot name. We're gonna do a new type of conversion conference, which is gonna be totally different.
Okay.
It's never been done before.
I have to tell you, man, this whole growth hacking is quite the buzzword these days. And they just had the little growth hacking thing. So conversions, in my opinion, is right up. I mean, that's basically growth hacking, in my opinion.
It's to the point. Yeah.
Right. It's all very similar and interconnected stuff. So
wow.
So I'm gonna get into doing some events, and hopefully it will take off. And we'll see.
When are we? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also try to help entrepreneurs with some landing page stuff. I'm launching landingpagemakeover.com and see if we can help people with that.
Okay.
And I'm still new at this game. I only started blogging a year and a half ago, and most people have no idea who I am. So I'm just a spring chicken here. So.
Well, I have to tell you, man, you're not going to become a spring chicken forever. I have a feeling, man. I think you're gonna kick some serious ass, man. I'm convinced, actually, you're gonna kick some serious ass.
That's the plan.
Yes.
That's the plan. I'm all in.
Yeah. All right. Good. So when is this event happening? What's your tentative dates? What are we looking at?
It's gonna be in Texas, close to Austin.
Okay.
November 13 to 15.
Okay.
Just pay attention to my blog Conversion Excel, where I'm gonna be announcing it end of this month.
Okay. Okay. And tell us more about the kind of people you want to bring and maybe the topics. Can you talk about that at all?
Well, it's gonna be about running experiments and doing conversion optimization the smart way.
Okay.
So it's the people, and it's gonna be small. It's gonna be like 100 people, not more.
Okay.
And it's gonna be huge emphasis on facilitating actual authentic conversations between people.
That's
so
awesome.
not your regular 30-minute session in the plenary room,
Okay. Okay.
And yeah, mostly people who are CEOs,
Okay.
people who are directly responsible for more sales online.
Right. Right. Wow, this sounds really exciting. Tell us more about your landing page product. So, is this going to be a little SaaS? Is this going to be a service? What is this automated? What are you thinking?
It's gonna be a service.
Okay.
There's Unbounce, and Unbounce is fantastic for building landing pages.
Right.
However, using templates as it comes with its limitations.
Okay.
And plus some people have more money than time.
Right.
So creating your landing pages on Unbounce might be still too big of a hassle. Need to learn a new system, even though it's Unbounce is fantastic. Recommend it.
Okay.
So, but if you don't want to do it yourself,
Right.
and you need it to convert, you're pumping your precious AdWords dollars into a campaign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you need to get it right.
Right.
And there's no one else to save you. Then you can call the landing page makeover.
Okay. Is that the URL? Is that the name?
Landingpagemakeover.com. I think we have something up there right now, but I'm not sure.
Makeover.com. Let's see. No, we got cannot found right now.
So either my spelling's bad or didn't get
actually, I don't know. Maybe you misspelled it. Anyways, yeah. So we're gonna build landing pages using the scientific method.
Landing page makeover. Oh, there it is. .com. Yep, that's it. Oh, yeah,
That's the one.
Very nice. All right, you know what? So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Pep. Here we are at a landing page for landingpagemakeover.com. We have a headline. We've got a split sort of image, and then we've got a red big call to action. How many experiments are you going to run on this landing page?
A lot. Okay. Well, I have right now it's a 3-step process.
Okay.
That's the control.
Okay.
And we're having a kind of a qualifier on the page to see whether our service is right for somebody. It's a fairly long page, long form page.
Yes, you do. Yep.
So obviously we're gonna experiment with the length of the page.
Okay.
The steps of the process, whether it's better to have everything on a single page,
right,
or it's better to have a 3-step process.
Oh, I love that. Yep.
Also gonna experiment with different parts of the content, like, because we don't know yet what are the top questions people will have about this service. So all the copy that is there is a hypothesis. Some of it might not be needed at all.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's. You mentioned many things here. How are you actually gonna start testing these experiments? Are you gonna, once you get a first couple of customers, you're gonna ask them, hey, when you were looking this over, did you have any questions? I mean, are you gonna explicitly ask?
So a couple of things here. Well, split testing we're gonna do. We use Visual Website Optimizer.
Okay.
So just do a split URL test. And direct half of the people to a different page and see what happens.
Okay.
Also, we're gonna do some usability testing here, where we're gonna recruit people who need landing pages but haven't seen this page yet.
Okay.
And have them go through the process and comment everything out loud and just see how they're using the site and what they're saying.
Gotcha.
So that's gonna be insightful. Also, we're gonna experiment which one is gonna work better, whether live chat, use Olark or one of those services.
Right. Yeah.
Put live chat on the site and see if people, ask questions. On some sites it's super used. Everybody asks questions and wants to talk to you.
Okay.
On some sites, hardly anybody. So it's
I see. So it depends on the niche and depends on what's going on.
An alternative to this would be a service called Qualaroo.
Okay.
Where you can ask. It's an automated thing where you can just like a survey.
Okay.
You can ask a question, and then they have either a free format answer they can type or like a radio button. So
gotcha.
Ask them questions like, what's holding back?
They're more willing to fill that out.
I have to say, Pep, I'm very interested to see how this sort of long sales format with the large graphics, how that converts. I've seen this sort of long sales page, very popular in the internet marketing niche. From the Warrior Forum, there's a ton of those long, the affiliate programs trying to get you to sign up, the BizOp type stuff. Right. So I'm interested in see if that, because this obviously looks a lot better than those cheesy looking long page sales letters, to see if this converts. Supposedly long sales pages do convert.
Well, we actually do a lot of long-form sales pages for our customers, and quite a few of them are from the internet marketing niche. And as you said, they come in having that super cheesy, terrible website, with fake photos and whatnot.
Exactly.
So we take that, make it look awesome.
Right.
Tweak the copy, tone down the hype or remove the hype and make it specific and factual and add some proof and so on. And what we see is a lot more sales. So, there's this guy, maybe Lewis House.
No,
he's like a LinkedIn.
Oh,
guru.
That LinkedIn guru. Yeah.
It's like he was on Mixergy.
Yeah.
So we took his site that looked.
I noticed that on your landing page examples. Yeah, on here. Yep.
Yeah. So we did a makeover for his long form sales page.
Okay.
And he's making now
there he is
twice the amount of money he used to.
Wow! So, really? Holy cow! I actually paid for this. I spent it was like $90 or something. He had a little video course.
97,
yeah. I paid for this. Yeah, I remember signing up and trying this out. But it does look a little different. I remember it was a little different before. But wow, okay, so long form works. Obviously, professional quality, the things that look good work. Social proof works.
Well, long form pages are a great idea if you have only one single product to sell. You're only selling one thing.
Okay.
And if you can make that into say a story, like you follow a customer thought sequence, like when they ask what is it, I try to understand, then you start talking about the benefits and all the things that you can get out of it, and so show examples, build up proof. So basically long form sales copy follows ideally the exact thought sequence that somebody has when evaluating a product.
Or the objections
so
that they may have.
You're looking at right now.
Okay.
This converts very well.
A lot of 1, 2, 3s on here. Bullet points, kind of like
bullet points. Yep. Headlines, bullet points. Stubborn fat. Yeah. So for a fact this obviously, since you work with these guys, this does convert, huh?
Yes, and the product is also very good.
Okay. Wow.
So like you said too, there's got to be value.
What were you saying, Pep?
That particular page, this guy Jason.
Yeah.
He's a super successful fitness entrepreneur. He has a massive following. He gets like 10,000 readers a day on his blog.
Wow.
Well,
the fitness niche is massive. Also very, very competitive, but massive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Super competitive.
Super competitive.
So let me ask you real quick about your blog. You said you got that initial 50,000 subscribers. It really helped you kick it off, or that was how long after
Readers,
the kickoff did it take you?
Not subscribers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Viewers, yeah.
How did you do that? What did you do that? I mean, I was going to ask, like, how do you seed your blog post? Do you go and, tell your friends about it, put it on the social networks, or do anything specifically strategic? And did that just go away once you hit the 50,000 mark?
So in the beginning, I carefully planned out the blog posts and I wrote them with Hacker News audience in mind.
Okay.
Because, hanging out in Hacker News all the time, every day, I read what people are saying, and I saw that startup founders often struggle with pricing, as did I in my last startup.
Yeah.
And then that led me to believe that maybe a post about pricing would be good, would be interesting to them. So I wrote this post.
Yeah.
The post was awesome.
Right.
And it, sure enough, it became first in Hacker News at a time. And how I did it, like I kind of cheated, where I asked a few friends to upvote the post when I posted it.
Right.
And they did, so they gave it a initial lift. So more and more people got exposed to it. So you can do something to boost your post, but ultimately the post needs to be able to carry its own weight.
Of course.
It needs to be good.
Yeah, it needs to be good.
So I mean, submitting posts to Hacker News, it's a hit and miss because so many new posts are submitted every minute or hour.
Right.
So it's like the chances of somebody seeing it and picking it up, it's the chances are slim. So
Or any favorites or anything we should keep in mind. Let's see, if I scroll down like one of your blog posts, you have the tweet, the LinkedIn, the like, and the Google Plus. Are there some that you left out, or there's no?
Yeah, I mean, I focus on when it comes to social sharing. I focus on the key channels, because if you have, some blogs will have like 27 buttons there.
Right.
So that creates again paradox of choice. Too many options.
Yeah.
People usually have their favorite channel where they share this type of stuff. Whether it's Twitter or LinkedIn.
Right.
So Twitter and LinkedIn are usually my best performing channels.
Gotcha. So I wanna go back really briefly to your conference that you're going to have. So obviously you've got an audience now with Conversion XL, and you're building that. So how are you going to leverage that audience? You're going to post that you're going to do this conference. What's going to be the best marketing channels for you going forward? Are you going to have a whole landing page? Are you going to drive some traffic to it?
Sure, I'm definitely going to have a landing page for the event. I'm going to promote it on my newsletter, on my blog. I get around 100,000 readers a month.
Wow, so 100,000. Jeff, did I hear that right? He said 100,000.
Yeah.
Holy cow, man!
It's a huge number.
That is huge, especially for conversions. I mean, wow, that isn't just like any random. This is a pretty, geeky topic, man.
Yeah.
It is. And then
mostly hackers in your audience. And what's your email newsletter size?
It's not that big. It's like 9,000 people.
Okay, so now I'm having a problem with you, Pep. So everybody and their mother says, build your list, build your list, build your list. What happened? Why is it only 9,000? Why don't you have like 4 million people on that list of yours?
Well, many things. Well, first of all, I haven't been around long enough to have more people. I have not driven any paid traffic to the site, so it's all the visitors on my site. So my homepage that you're looking at right now, that converts on average around 8-9%.
Okay.
That's form over there. Okay. And so in the blog readers, when they read blog posts, those tend to opt in at a rate of around 1.5-2%.
Okay.
So so there's the math of having all these visitors, and then how many and the percentages.
Have you ever thought about possibly locking half of the post out unless they can submit or do a content locker? Or are you thinking about those at all?
No.
What do you think about the annoying modals?
Well, I mean, my blog is my marketing. I want people to see it. I want it to be accessible, plus for search engines as well.
I know, but man,
right?
But so many people say, unless you capture their email, that everybody's inundated with the content, you're never going to be able to chat with them again because they're just going to forget about you possibly.
I mean, this is all an experiment in progress. I'm experimenting with different value propositions, the way I'm serving that offer. Okay. So I've experimented with just a static sidebar for the email capture.
Okay.
Right now, the best thing that's converting for me is when you read my blog post, there's the scroll triggered box that pops up.
Oh, scroll trigger box.
Yeah,
yes.
I noticed those earlier.
So that's working super well, and it's not annoying.
Yeah, it's not annoying. Exactly. So you're saying this thing triggers what, about 75% way down, maybe?
I might have closed it already earlier.
Yeah, if you close it, it won't bug you again for 30 days.
Okay.
It's nice.
Well, you can open it in incognito window, and then the cookies don't go out there.
Okay, gotcha.
I did one already. But,
do you mind telling me what is that? Is that a plugin for WordPress, or is this something homebrew?
Yeah, it is. It's a plugin for WordPress called. I use the one called Dream Grow Scroll Triggered Box.
Okay, cool. It's very
free. The one for the social buttons we were talking about too is fairly popular as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use one called ShareBar.
Okay, ShareBar. Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
One question I have. So for all these Hacker News audience that you attracted to your blog, how'd you convert them, or what was their method of conversion? How do they subscribe? How do they come back?
Okay,
here's the interesting
thing. How do they
come back to the blog? Is it RSS or Twitter or something?
Most of Hacker News people did not convert at all.
Okay.
Oh.
The Hacker News traffic, I think, is like come in and go away kind of traffic.
Really?
Plus, I don't know. Might be that they're not very interested in conversion stuff. But what is interesting is that once you hit 50 or 100 points in Hacker News, your post is going to be massively shared on social media.
Yeah.
It's going to be linked to in a bunch of blogs, and that's where it's going to spread and bring in the people that actually want your stuff.
Right.
Like, I wish the Hacker News crowd wanted my stuff directly, but I've learned that they don't.
Wow, I'm surprised.
I was telling Amul the inside lingo, I think, is well, this applies for you. Your super duper long form is TLDR, too long didn't read, with the semicolon after it. So, just put that, have one of those little pop-ups or something, or you put it at the top of your copy and say, the short of it is, here, it's basically the title.
So but, in our case, Jeff, it would be too long, didn't watch. That would be for us.
We can point anything, So no, that's very interesting, though. I mean, is there a favorite way people subscribe to your blog? Do you find them just coming back to it, or do you know your RSS subscription numbers?
Well, since Google announced killing Google Reader, the RSS subscribers have tanked. I mean, I don't have that much to begin with. I think I have I don't know, 4,000 maybe. Okay. I haven't even looked in ages. I don't even know. Okay. So RSS is not important. I'm not pushing RSS. Wow. I am pushing email as my main thing, but a lot of people just
they just come and tell other people about it, or
that's the kind of way. Like most of the readers that convert to paying customers and buying services. Yeah, those are long-term readers. They send me an email. Hey, I've been reading your blog for the last 4 months. Yeah. And now, I think I might,
I'm ready for you. Yeah. And these guys are probably the best. They're probably the best clients to work for, right? Am I wrong? I mean,
it is.
I mean, these guys know you. They know what you're about. They've already sold. They're sold on you.
They're sold, and when the sales call, I mean, I don't know if it's a sales call. When we have a phone call, then it is not a sales situation.
It's not a sales situation. Yeah.
It is.
They already know you.
In fact, I'm even in the power position here. During the calls.
No, dude, listen, man. I'm talking to you, and I'm gushing. I mean, I'm just gushing because I love what you're doing. These guys have also got to love what you're doing. Am I wrong?
They do, and that enables me to set terms which otherwise would be objectionable. For instance, when we work with when we do a new web design, we have a clause in the contract that says that we have the final say over your design. That's it.
I love it.
How long did it take to figure out that was something you needed to put in paper? Because we started the conversation saying the design is so important. It's so hard to convince people.
So if the discussion comes to client wants the logo bigger, I say point 8.1 point section 2. No.
That's right. And listen, Bob. You've been reading my blog for months. Come on, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know better.
Yeah. This is great. Yeah. I love it. Okay,
that's really great. Amul and I have had so many conversations, and I've had some recently with other creative workers that they just have this frustration of like not being trusted to do what they're great at, which is this like pseudo creative work.
Right.
That people don't understand, but they want to feel like they do and be a part of it.
Exactly. So I say, when it comes to design, we always listen to the client, right? Because client knows their business much better than I do. I always listen to the client. However, sometimes the ideas are stupid.
Right.
But so the way to solve these issues in a civil manner is to say, okay, let's test it. However, if they have very little traffic, then of course we shouldn't waste precious traffic on stupid tests. Then I say, well, I mean, we have all these, this is our test priority sheet here. Like we want to run these experiments in this order.
Right.
And we think like these top 10 are important because of, X.
Gotcha.
Now we can also run your logo test.
Right.
Like my experience tells me that we're not going to see a lift here. We're going to waste a month or two. And we can still do it because it's your money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing I think let me get to before we forget, the last time you told us about the passion of your day-to-day involvement in this, like the passion of running experiments, trying to figure it out. Do you find yourself more than writing these blog posts and, like building this conference and being a thought leader on this? Tell us about your day-to-day experience and your, how it is actually. Do you feel like you're getting better at your own conversion rates? In your own experiments?
Great question. Great question.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly improving. Like you should hear my sales pitch. It's so good.
Oh, is that
right? And what I love about my work, as I said, people pay me to make them money. So if I'm making them money, that makes me happy and excited.
Right.
Like the example of Louis' house that we doubled his revenue. Like that makes me just so happy.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I want to foster the culture within my own company that we are here to make other people money because if they make money, we make money.
Of course.
And so
such a great place to put yourself in.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's a fun game to come up with test hypotheses. You talk to the users, you go through the qualitative research, surveys. You spend hours in Google Analytics. Now, my friend Greg Sullivan is a great optimizer. He sometimes spends 17 hours straight in Google Analytics.
Wow.
So looking for something, because when you start looking for it, you don't know what you're looking for.
Oh, that is...
it's like, and then you find an insight. Aha!
Right.
And then, based on that, you create a treatment, a new design, whatever it is, run an experiment. And if that all hard work pays off, you achieve a lift, then you're like, woohoo!
Right. I have to tell you, Pep, this whole area of diving deep in the analytics, running these experiments, doing all of this, in my opinion, this whole area needs to come and be more transparent. There needs to be more case studies. There need to be a case study over the last 12 months, all the 20, 30, 40, 100 experiments every month that were run. I'd love to see this stuff. I know you're doing this growth conference, and it'll be, I don't know how much money you're going to charge, but have you thought about putting an online course on this and making it more comprehensive and charging? And
Yes, a course is something that I am working on and hoping to launch it in the fall.
Okay.
Conversion course. I'm still unsure about how I'm structuring it, because of all the issues that we talked about. You don't want to slam people with too much content and have them be feared. Oh my God, Google Analytics, my brain freeze already. So,
right.
So I'm still struggling with that, but it's slowly coming together. And in the summer, I'm taking a month off of my regular work, so I'll work on the course instead.
Okay.
So I want to, because frankly, conversion work is not cheap.
Okay.
Most startups are unable to afford us.
Okay.
So with this course, I want to give people who have more time than money, means to help themselves.
Oh, I love this, man. I am checking this thing out, man. I am definitely checking this thing out. Yep. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at what, August? When are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do August. However, I'm not ruling out September, so let's see.
Okay. All right. All right, very cool. Well, I have to tell you, Pep, this is the second time around. This has been very sweet. The first time it was awesome, and you don't understand. I was so upset. I was telling Jeff, like, I can't believe we lost that video. And
that was a tough break for both of us. Very emotional.
After I did the first interview with you guys, I told my wife that, hey, I had the best interview of my life. Because I've been on podcasts, 100 times.
Okay.
But usually it's the same boring scripted stuff, or like struggling. The interview is like struggling to find questions to ask, and it's there's no natural flow to the conversation like you guys are doing. So I think you guys have something really good going here.
Okay, well, I really appreciate that, man. That's very sweet.
No, we really appreciate the feedback. Like we said earlier in the conversation, we're continuing to iterate and do our own experiments and figure out what people like. And the beauty, the fun thing is, like, it's such a open-ended medium. Like, there's really no rules. So hopefully we can experiment even more in the future and come up with something that no one's done.
Yeah, I've been really talking to Jeff about hiring a female with large melons to join us. That way we can shove her up into the camera in about 7 minutes. Right when the dip happens.
Howard Stern.
Or Howard Stern. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, but we appreciate that you come on the show and be very real with us. And, I think you understand what our audience is and the sort of people that are struggling and fighting and need to know the skills that you have, but, don't always get the chance to practice them. And, it's hard to apply sometimes at the low end, but is so valuable because otherwise you're kind of dropping these leads on the floor too often.
And to that end, Jeff had mentioned that we've decided to compile all the best stuff that we've had the last couple of months into these epic posts. And honestly, I have to tell you, it was because of you that we decided to do this. And
awesome.
So
it's very much an inspiration to format it that way. At least to try to create a super valuable post like you have that people can't resist but to share it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love the saying that goes, how was it? Be so good that they can't ignore you.
Can't ignore you. That's right. Yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, so with that, I think we'll come to a close. If people want to get a hold of you, what's a good way of doing that, Pep?
Yeah, conversionxl.com. My contacts are there. All the great content is there, so check it out.
Awesome. So if our audience is listening, they can thank you by going and signing up for your email newsletter.
Yes.
And you'll know that boost is from us.
Okay. And is there anything else that you're looking for? Are you hiring, or is there something that you...
I mean, not right now. I will need somebody to help me put this event together in the fall. So.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll definitely let us know.
Yeah. We'll definitely be announcing your future announcements to our audience at your event and your product releases.
Awesome.
And we'll definitely talk to you down the road.
Absolutely. We definitely are going to be touching base in a few months and checking in with you, especially if you haven't put that course together, because I'll be bugging you about that.
We'll be searching
excellent.
for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, Pep, for being on our show. I really, really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.